The 2010 FIBA World Championship, hosted by Turkey, was the international basketball competition contested by the men's national teams. The tournament ran from August 28 to September 12, 2010. It was co-organized by the International Basketball Federation, Turkish Basketball Federation and the 2010 Organizing Committee. It was considered as prestigious a competition as the Olympic basketball tournament. For the third time, the World Championship had 24 competing nations. As a result, the group stage games were played in 4 different cities, and the knockout round was hosted by Istanbul. The United States won the tournament for their 4th time after going undefeated in the opening round and beating host Turkey in the final. The draw for the championship took place on December 15, 2009 in Istanbul. Teams were drawn into 4 preliminary round groups of 6 teams each. Teams first played a round-robin schedule, with the top 16 teams advancing to the knockout stage. Bid: 3 bids from 6 countries: France, Turkey, and a joint bid from former Yugoslav republics Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia, Serbia, Montenegro, and Slovenia made their final presentation during the FIBA's 20-member Central Board in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, on December 5, 2004. Previously, Australia and New Zealand, Italy, Russia and Puerto Rico announced their intention to bid from the tournament, but withdrew their bids prior to the votes. France won the first round of voting, but Turkey eventually won the right to host after the joint bidders were knocked out in the first round. The tournament was the first time that Turkey has hosted the event and marked the first World Championship held in Europe since the 1998 FIBA World Championship was held in Greece. Venues: below is a list of the venues which hosted games during the 2010 FIBA World Championship. Each preliminary round group was hosted in a single arena in Kayseri, Istanbul, Ankara, and Izmir. The knockout phase then moved to Istanbul's Şener Erdem Dome. Ankara Arena, completed in 2010, and Kadirhas Arena, completed in 2008, were built for the championships, while the other 3 arenas underwent renovations for the event. Qualifying: Turkey automatically qualified as the host country, and the United States also received an automatic berth for winning the 2008 Olympic men's basketball tournament. Most other teams secured their places in continental qualifying tournaments. FIBA invited 4 wild-card teams to fill out the 24-team field. Wildcards: the 4 wildcards were determined by FIBA through criteria. For example, a team must have played in the zone's qualification tournament to receive recommendation. Also, in order for every team to have an opportunity for a wild card, a maximum of 3 teams from any zone can be allotted a wild card entry. Once these requirements are satisfied, FIBA then looks at other important factors. Those include popularity of basketball within the country, success of the team, and government support for the team's national federation. As of 2009, FIBA now requires that wild card candidates pay a late registration fee to be considered. 14 teams paid the $500,000 fee to apply for one of the 4 wild card spots. FIBA then whittled down the teams to 8 semi-finalists: Cameroon, Germany, Great Britain, Korea, Lebanon, Lithuania, Nigeria, and Russia. On Saturday, December 12, FIBA awarded Germany, Lebanon, Lithuania and Russia the 4 wildcards. List of qualified teams: the following 24 teams qualified for the final tournament. Group draw: the draw held on December 15 divided the qualified teams into 4 groups of 6, Groups A, B, C, and D, as listed for the preliminary round. Aside from the fact that those teams in the same line would not be in the same preliminary round groups, there were no other restrictions on how teams may be drawn. Squads: at the start of tournament, all 24 participating countries had 12 players on their rosters. Final squads for the tournament were due on August 26, 2 days before the start of competition. Angola and the United States were the only teams made up of entirely domestic players. Slovenia was the only team composed entirely of individuals playing outside the domestic league. The Canada squad also consisted entirely of individuals playing outside the country, but at the time Canada had no professional league operating exclusively in the country. The National Basketball Association, based in the U.S., has a Canadian team, and several minor leagues operate on both sides of the US-Canada border. 4 Canadian squad members played in US-based competitions, 2 with US-based NBA teams, and 2 for the same US college team. 41 NBA players were selected to compete in the tournament, the most of any league. Preparation matches, Acropolis Tournament. Greece and Serbia both began the tournament short-handed when each had 2 players suspended for their roles in a brawl at the World Championship Tune-Up Acropolis Tournament, held in mid-August. The 2 teams engaged in a chaotic brawl with 2:40 left when Greece's Antonis Fotis threatened Serbia's Milo Teodosia after Teodosia committed a foul. The fight spilled off the floor and into the locker room tunnel. The game was thus terminated with final score the score at the time of the interruption. Serbian center Nenad Krstia was arrested and held overnight for throwing a chair in the brawl. For their roles in the melee, Krstia was suspended for the first 3 games of the tournament, while Teodosia, and Greece's Fotis and Sophocles Shortsonitis were suspended for the first 2 games. Both Greek coach Jonas Kazauskas and Serbian coach Dusan Ivkovic criticized FIBA for waiting until less than 48 hours before the tournament over a week after the brawl to announce the suspensions, citing the unfairness of playing short-handed for the first games. Greece eventually won their first 2 games in spite of the suspensions, while Serbia won 2 of their first 3 games. Bamberg Super Cup Preliminary Round. The top 4 finishers in each of the 4 preliminary round groups advanced to the 16-team, single-elimination knockout stage, where Group A teams would meet Group B teams and Group C would meet Group D. European teams proved the most successful in the first round, as 9 of the 10 teams advanced to the knockout stage. Both Oceanian teams qualified for the next round, as did 3 of the 5 FIBA Americas teams. The 3 African and 4 Asian teams struggled, with only Angola and China reaching the knockout stage after each finished 4th place in their group. There were few surprises in the early round. Each team that advanced to the knockout stage was ranked in the top 20 of the FIBA World Ranking at the time of the tournament. Defending champion Spain struggled early, losing 2 of their first 3 games before recovering to finish second in Group D. Argentina and the United States, the 2 top teams in the FIBA rankings, both cruised to the knockout phase, as the United States went 5-0 and Argentina went 4-1, with their only loss coming to number 5 ranked Serbia. Tie-breaking procedure. At the end of the preliminary round, any ties will be broken by the following criteria, ordered from the one that will be applied first to the last: game results between tied teams, goal average between games of the tied teams, goal average for all games of the tied teams, drawing of lots, Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D. Final round. Championship bracket, consolation bracket, 8th finals. Quarterfinals. 5th Euro 8th classification. Semi-finals. 3rd Euro place game. Final. Statistical leaders, individual tournament highs, individual game highs, team tournament highs, team game highs, final rankings. Method of breaking ties, result of classification game, place in preliminary round group, winning percentage, overall goal average. All tournament team: Luis Scola, Linus Kleiser, Kevin Durant, Hedo Tawan Rakoiu, Milos Teodosic. Referees. On August 18, 2010, FIBA named the 40 referees that officiated at the tournament. Below are the referees, along with a first-round group that each was assigned to. Broadcasting rights. FIBA announced that the championship will be shown in 183 countries, beating the record set by the 2006 championship, which was 132. Countries that aired the championship for the first time were India and the United Kingdom, while Canada covered the event for the first time since hosting the 1994 FIBA World Championship. TV ratings. According to FIBA Secretary-General Patrick Bowman, The TV ratings for the 2010 championship exceeded the 2006 FIBA World Championships and the FIBA Eurobasket 2009 numbers, with an expected audience of 800 million people in 200 countries, while 30 million people visited the official website. The preliminary round game between China and Greece was watched by around 65 million Chinese, while the three games of Lithuania topped the annual ratings in Lithuania, beating the 2010 FIFA World Cup final. The US TV ratings for the final between the US and Turkey, on the other hand, was watched by less than 900,000 viewers in American cable network ESPN, worse than the average audience of the broadcast of the 2009 October NBA season, but double than the airing of the first game of the 2010 WNBA Finals on its sister terrestrial network ABC, which was aired on the same time slot. List of broadcasters, TV broadcasters, see also. 2010 FIBA World Championship for Women, 2010 Wheelchair Basketball World Championship. Notes, references. External links, official website.